You didn't ask for the storm. You didn't plan for the silence. But one day, it arrived anyway. Loss. It comes like a thief in the night. Sometimes expected, sometimes sudden. But always life-changing. It leaves a silence that echoes louder than words. An ache that no one else can see. And a question that keeps whispering through your heart. How do I live now, without what I thought I couldn't live without? If you're here, it means you've lost something. Someone. A version of yourself. A life you thought would last forever. And now you're standing at the edge of something new. Not because you chose to, but because life chose it for you. This is not just a story of grief. This is a story of becoming. Of creating a life you can love again. Even after everything changed. Grief isn't just the pain of losing someone you love. It's the unraveling of the life you imagined with them. The conversations that will never happen. The future that will never unfold. The version of yourself that was tied to them, now missing. It's not just the event, it's the aftershock. You wake up in a world that feels unfamiliar, even cruel. You breathe, but every breath feels hollow. You function, but nothing feels real. And people say things like, "You'll move on. Time heals all wounds. At least you had the time you did." But those words don't meet you where you are. Because where you are is in the wreckage. And here's the truth no one says loudly enough. It's okay if your world feels broken right now. You don't have to rush through grief. You don't have to pretend you're okay. Sometimes, just surviving the day is a victory. Before you can rebuild, you must sit with what was lost. This world teaches us to move on fast. Scroll past it, work through it, numb it out. But healing doesn't come from avoidance. It comes from presence. What did you lose? Not just the name, but the meaning behind it. Was it a person who grounded you? A dream that made you feel alive? A version of you that you thought would last forever? Say it. Write it. Honor it. Because acknowledging the depth of your pain is the first step to honoring the depth of your love. Grief is not the enemy of life. Grief is the evidence of love that mattered. Let yourself mourn. Let yourself remember. Tears are not weakness, they are truth leaving the body. Here's the lie grief whispers. You are nothing without what you lost. It says, you were only whole when they were here. You'll never be happy again. Your purpose died with them. But listen closely. You are not what you lost. You are what remains. You are what wakes up. What feels. What loves, even in pain. What chooses, even when it's hard. Grief will try to define you. But you can choose your definition. Not broken. Not abandoned. Not empty. But becoming. You are becoming someone who carries love forward. Someone who honors the past by choosing to live anyway. And that takes a kind of courage the world rarely sees. In the shadow of loss, everything can feel meaningless. Your work feels hollow. Your goals feel pointless. Even joy feels unfair. And you start to wonder, what's the point now? It's okay to ask that. It's okay if your old reasons for living don't fit anymore. Because loss has a way of changing your why. Here's what no one tells you. Purpose isn't always loud. It doesn't always look like passion or power or productivity. Sometimes purpose is getting out of bed, making someone smile, putting your hand on your heart and saying, I'm still here. Purpose is not a destination. It's a direction. And in your pain, you're still moving forward, one breath at a time. That is purpose in motion. There will be days where the sun shines, and you feel guilty for smiling. There will be moments of laughter, followed by a wave of shame. There will be times when joy peeks in, and you want to shut the door. Because your heart whispers, if I'm happy, am I forgetting? But hear this clearly. Joy is not betrayal. Healing is not forgetting. Smiling does not mean you've moved on. It means you are moving with. Grief never disappears, it simply changes shape. You carry it differently as you grow. So give yourself permission to cry without shame, to laugh without guilt, to feel whatever comes without judging it. Your feelings are valid. Your process is yours. And every emotion is part of the healing. Rebuilding a heart that still knows how to beat. There's northwest straight road out of grief. No map. No fast forward button. Just one quiet moment after another. And somewhere in between the silence and the sobs, you whisper to yourself, I want to feel alive again. Not just exist. Not just survive. But actually live. Starting small, because that's how healing begins. You don't have to rebuild your life in one day. Start small. Start slow. Start sacred. Sometimes healing looks like brushing your hair and calling it a win. Making tea and feeling the warmth in your hands. Stepping outside just to let the sun touch your face. Tiny moments. Quiet victories. And that's enough. Because small doesn't mean meaningless. Small is how life begins to whisper to you again. So don't wait for the lightning bolt of purpose. Trust the flicker. The faint glow. Because flickers become flames. And flames become fire. And fire brings warmth back to the places in you that went cold. What if joy isn't gone, just hiding? After loss, joy becomes shy. It doesn't run to greet you anymore, it waits. Waits for you to invite it. Waits for you to believe it's still allowed. And that belief, it takes time. You might find joy in unexpected places now. A child's laughter in a grocery store. The way your dog rests its head on your knee. The softness of your own voice when you finally say, I'm doing okay. Joy won't come crashing in. But it will come gently if you let it. You don't find joy by chasing it. You find it by noticing it. You find it by noticing it. Even in the quiet. Even in the grief. Joy wants to hold your hand again. Let it. A new chapter, not a new life. You don't have to start over. You're not wiping the slate clean. You're writing a new chapter. With the old pages still honored. Still sacred. Still real. Your story didn't end with the loss. It shifted. And now you get to decide what comes next. What stays? What softens? What grows? You're not betraying your past by moving forward. You're honoring it by living. Moving on doesn't mean letting go of love. It means letting go of the pain that keeps love from breathing again. This isn't forgetting. This is remembering differently. When you have no idea what your purpose is anymore. It's okay if you don't know what lights you up right now. It's okay if nothing feels worth chasing. Purpose isn't something you have to invent. It's something you slowly rediscover. Ask. What makes me feel even 1% alive? What would I do if no one was watching? What feels honest to who I'm becoming now? And then do that. Even if it's messy. Even if it's tiny. Even if no one claps for it yet. Because purpose doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it just says, keep going. Help someone else. Create beauty from your pain. You are not lost. You're just walking through the fog. And even in the fog, you are still moving forward. Rewriting the inner voice. Loss changes your inner voice. Where it once said, I am loved. I am whole. I am safe. Now it may whisper, I'm too broken. I'll never be okay. Why did this happen to me? But here's what you need to know. That voice can heal too. You can teach it new words. Kinder ones. Truer ones. Every day, tell yourself, I'm healing at my own pace. I'm allowed to find joy again. I'm creating something beautiful from the ashes. Because the voice you speak to yourself with is the voice that builds the life you live. Make it tender. Make it powerful. Make it yours. What if your story helps someone else? You've been through things people can't see. But what if someone needs your story? Not when it's all wrapped up with a bow. But now. While it's raw. While you're still becoming. Because someone else out there is grieving right now too. And maybe your honesty gives them hope. Maybe your healing lights their path. Pain shared is pain lessened. And stories told are hearts connected. So speak. Write. Create. Be visible in your journey. Your vulnerability may be the very thing that keeps someone else going. The life you love doesn't have to look like before. Sometimes the life you love will look nothing like what you planned. And that's not failure, it's transformation. Your new life may be quieter, slower, more meaningful, more present. It may be more about depth than speed, more about peace than performance, more about who you are than what you produce. Let go of the pressure to bounce back. Instead, rise different. Rise truer. Rise with your heart wide open to this new chapter. Because the life you love won't be perfect. But it will be honest. And yours. Turning pain into meaning, and meaning into purpose. At some point, grief stops being just something you feel. And starts becoming something you carry. But what if what you carry becomes something beautiful? What if it becomes meaning? This is not about getting over what happened. This is about growing through it. This is about taking the shattered pieces and building something honest. Real. Free. Because you were not meant to just survive. You were meant to transform. Your pain can become a path. Loss cracks us wide open. And in that brokenness, something sacred happens. You begin to see differently. You feel more deeply. You care more honestly. And suddenly, you realize, maybe my pain isn't pointless. Maybe it's a path. A path to help others who feel lost. Create things that heal. Speak words others can't find. This doesn't mean your pain is fair, or that you had to suffer for growth. But since the pain came anyway, let it become light. Let it make you kinder. Let it make you softer in all the right places. Let it grow you, not harden you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you become because of it. Finding the fire again. You might not feel passionate right now. You might feel numb, disconnected, tired. But deep down, under all the rubble, the fire is still there. That fire that once made you dream, create, connect, and love boldly. It hasn't gone out. It's just waiting. Waiting for rest, compassion, space to breathe again. You don't find your fire by forcing it. You find it by doing small things with full presence. Light a candle. Listen to music that moves you. Speak your truth to someone who really hears it. Each of these is a spark. And spark by spark, the fire returns. Passion after pain is not just possible. It's powerful. When the heart opens again. You didn't think you'd love again, did you? After loss, it feels like your heart has grown roots in pain. But hearts don't stay buried forever. Love doesn't vanish, it waits. It waits until you're ready to see life through softer eyes again. And one day, without warning, you'll laugh so hard it surprises you. You'll find beauty in a moment that used to feel empty. You'll look in the mirror and see someone glowing. That's love returning. Not the old kind. Not the past. But a new love. A love for life. A love for you. And no, loving again doesn't mean you've forgotten. It means you've remembered how to live. Creating a new world with what remains. Grief changes the landscape of your life. And now, you get to plant new things in the soil where something ended. What do you want this new world to hold? Peace instead of pressure. Presence instead of perfection. Depth instead of distraction. You get to choose. You're not the same person anymore, and that's okay. The person you're becoming is wiser, softer, stronger. You don't have to rebuild the life you had. You get to design the life you love. A life with slower mornings. Deeper conversations. More soul, less noise. This is your life now. Let it reflect who you truly are. You are not alone in this. Loss often feels like isolation. Like you're the only one walking through this shadow. But look around. Listen closely. There are others. Whispering prayers in the dark. Searching for hope in silence. Learning to breathe again. You are not alone. There is a quiet army of hearts healing beside you. And when you share your truth, when you speak what hurts and what heals, you light the way for others too. So please don't hide. Let your story be the bridge. Let your healing be the invitation. Someone needs to know it's possible. Someone needs you. A new meaning for every morning. There will come a morning where the grief doesn't wake you first. Where the sunlight feels warm, not harsh. Where you pour your coffee and feel peace instead of pain. That day will come. And when it does, don't run from it. Let it hold you. Let it remind you. I made it through the dark. And now, I choose to live. That morning doesn't mean the loss is gone. It means you've grown bigger than the pain. You've stretched into a life that includes the love, the memory, and the future. And that is wholeness. You are here, and that is enough. You are here. Right now. Reading this. Feeling this. Still breathing. After all the nights you didn't think you would survive. You are still here. You didn't give up. You didn't let the pain win. You may not have everything figured out. You may still ache. But you are living. And that is proof. You are healing. You are choosing. You are worthy of joy again. This life can still be beautiful. And you are the one who makes it so. Final message, from loss to love and from grief to growth. To the one who lost and stayed lost for a while. This is your homecoming. This is where you rise, not as who you were, but as who you're becoming. Stronger. Softer. More sacred than ever. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything. Just keep becoming. Keep listening to your heart. Keep letting life surprise you. Because the purpose is not out there. It's not in perfection. It's in this moment. In this breath. In this brave, beautiful choice to live again. You are not your loss. You are not your sadness. You are the light that kept glowing. Even when the world around you dimmed. And that light, it's yours now. Forever. If this message stirred something in you, if you're ready to create a life you love after everything you've been through, subscribe to @Mindfuel Media 101. Because here, we don't just survive the pain. We rise from it. Together. Becoming whole again, healing the parts of you that loss couldn't touch. When you lose something you never imagined living without, you also lose a part of yourself that once existed only in that love, in that dream, in that season of life. But here's the truth you begin to discover, slowly and quietly. There are parts of you that loss could not touch. The pieces that still hope. The spirit that still aches to love. The soul that still longs to rise. And that's where we begin again. Not with who you were, but with what still lives inside you now. The identity shift after loss. Grief doesn't just break your heart. It shatters your sense of self. You look in the mirror and wonder, who am I now that they're gone? Who am I without that title, that dream, that direction? It's disorienting. The version of you that lived in the before is gone. But that doesn't mean you're no one now. It means you're becoming. Loss forces reinvention. Not because you wanted to change, but because staying the same was no longer possible. And in that sacred space of becoming, you get to ask, what parts of me feel true now? What do I want to carry forward? What am I finally ready to release? You are not broken. You're just in transformation. Letting go of what could have been. One of the heaviest weights we carry after loss is the life that never happened. We grieve. The wedding that never came. The children never born. The dreams you didn't get to chase together. The words you didn't say. This grief is silent. Invisible. But it's real. It shows up in sudden waves. When you see someone else living the life you thought you would have. When a date on the calendar feels heavier than it should. And sometimes, you punish yourself for it. I should be over this by now. But you're not grieving the past. You're grieving the future you imagined. And the truth is, you are allowed to mourn the future, too. But don't live there. Don't stay stuck in the what-ifs. Because the future you still have. That future deserves your attention now. Healing the guilt that doesn't belong to you. Grief often comes with guilt. I should have seen it coming. I should have done more. Why am I still here, and they're not? But guilt is grief's shadow. It tells you lies so you feel like you're in control again. Because if it was your fault, then maybe you could have prevented it. But here's what your soul needs to hear. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that's all any human can do. You're not here to carry blame. You're here to carry love forward. And love says, forgive yourself. Keep living. Let go of the guilt that's not yours to hold. Creating rituals to remember without being stuck. Sometimes we fear that healing will make us forget. So we cling to the pain like it's the only proof we have that it mattered. But pain doesn't equal memory. You don't have to hurt to honor what was lost. Create rituals, not chains. Ways to remember that keep love alive without keeping you in the dark. Light a candle every year on the anniversary. Write a letter to them when you miss them. Donate in their name. Plant something beautiful. Tell their story. Because remembering doesn't have to mean reliving the pain. It can mean reclaiming the love. Rebuilding a spiritual connection with life. Sometimes after loss, the universe feels silent. Your prayers feel unanswered. Your faith feels fractured. You wonder, where was God? Why did this happen to me? And those questions deserve honesty, not avoidance. But here's what time gently reveals. Even when you were lost, life never left you. Even in the silence, something sacred was still holding you. Maybe it's not about finding answers. Maybe it's about finding presence. In the wind through the trees. In the way music still moves you. In how your heartbeat continues, against all odds. You are still connected. To something deeper. To something bigger. Wounds. 4. Purpose practice. Ask daily, what matters most to me right now? Give time to one thing that aligns with that. 5. Rest without guilt. Take breaks. Nap. Lay in silence. Healing is work. Rest is your permission slip. Small steps. Gentle rhythms. That's how you return to yourself. Life will feel different, but that doesn't mean it's less. It won't feel like before. But that doesn't mean it won't feel good. This version of your life might move slower. Go deeper. Prioritize peace over performance. That's not regression. That's evolution. The afterlife may be quieter but more aligned. Less crowded but more meaningful. Less certain but more real. And real is what you deserve now. Redefining happiness on your terms. Maybe happiness used to mean big achievements, perfect photos, loud applause. Now, maybe it means feeling calm in your own body. Being able to breathe deeply. Knowing you're at peace with your past. Let happiness be yours now. Not what they told you it had to be. Happiness isn't always loud. Sometimes it sounds like your soul saying, "Thank you for not giving up on me." You are the meaning you were searching for. You searched for meaning in the past. In people. In dreams. In plans. But now, you realize something deeper. You are the meaning. Your heart still beating. Your soul still creating. Your life still unfolding. That's the miracle. The meaning is not out there in the distance. It's right here. In every breath you choose to take with purpose. In every time you love without knowing how it will end. In every moment you rise again. You are the meaning. You are the light. You are the life worth loving. Final message: the life you're building is sacred. To the one who lost and doubted they'd ever live again. Look at you now. You're not healed. You're healing. You're not fine. You're real. You're not who you were. You're becoming someone new and beautiful. This life you're creating. Let's be real for a second. You didn't expect this to be part of your story. Not the loss. Not the grief. Not the unraveling of everything you thought was safe, steady, forever. Maybe it came in a phone call. Or a quiet goodbye. Or a moment when the person, the dream, the identity you held so tightly, slipped right through your hands. And in that one moment, everything fell apart. The plan. The version of you that made sense. The future you were walking toward with your whole heart. Gone. And in its place, silence, shock, and a voice inside whispering, "What do I do now?" When life hits harder than you thought it ever could. Let's not sugarcoat it, loss breaks something in you. It shakes the ground you walk on. It disrupts your sleep. It dulls your appetite for joy. And the world doesn't wait for you to recover. Bills still come. Work still demands. People still expect smiles. But inside, you're shattered. And no one seems to notice the pieces scattered all around your feet. And maybe the hardest part is this. The world keeps spinning. But your world, it just stopped. You didn't deserve the storm, but you can rise from it. There's this myth floating around that says, everything happens for a reason. But let's be honest. Some things hurt too deeply. Some losses leave you speechless. Some pain doesn't come with a purpose, it just is. And yet, even in the wreckage, even in the nights you cried so hard your chest hurt, something in you kept going. Maybe not confidently. Maybe not even willingly. But your heart, it kept beating. And that heartbeat is your permission slip to begin again. You didn't choose the storm. But you can choose what comes next. Pain isn't the end, it's the opening. Loss doesn't just take something from you. It opens something in you. A space you never asked for. A silence you didn't expect. A gap where something used to be. But inside that space is where meaning begins. Because here's the truth the world rarely tells. The most meaningful lives don't start with perfection. They begin in the ruins. In the aftermath. In the sobs. In the whisper of a soul that says, maybe, just maybe, I can rise from this. You don't have to move on, you just have to move with. Let's cancel the phrase, move on. It makes grief feel like failure. Like if you're still crying 6 months later, you're weak. Like if you still miss them, you're stuck. But grief isn't a box you check off. It's a language your soul speaks. And healing isn't about forgetting. It's about carrying love forward in a way that doesn't break you. You don't move on. You move with the love, with the lessons, with the pain that softens into purpose. The day you decide to begin again, even if you don't know how. There will be a day when something shifts. Not a miracle. Not a movie moment. Just a quiet breath. A sudden pause. A whisper from somewhere deep inside that says, I can't stay in this darkness forever. And you won't. Not because someone saves you. Not because it all gets fixed. But because one day you choose to turn the page. Maybe you still cry. Maybe your voice still shakes. But you stand up. You reach for something, anything, that feels like hope. And that moment, that's the beginning of everything. You don't need the old road, you need a new map. After loss, people will try to give you advice. Just keep busy. You need closure. Time heals everything. But most of it falls flat. Why? Because you're not going back to who you were. That version of you is gone. You don't need directions back. You need a map forward. And that map doesn't start with answers. It starts with curiosity, courage, and the tiniest willingness to believe that life still has beauty for you. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to say, I'm willing to find out what's next. So if you're standing in the ruins of what was, if your heart is still heavy and your hope feels fragile, let this part of your story be the line in the sand where everything changes. Let this be the chapter where you stop surviving and start becoming. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're just beginning. And this is the most powerful beginning of all. Here's something no one really talks about. Healing doesn't look like a breakthrough. It doesn't come in some epic, Instagrammable, movie-style transformation. No. It looks like brushing your teeth when you didn't want to get out of bed. It looks like making a meal, even though your appetite vanished months ago. It looks like saying, I'm still here, out loud, just so your spirit remembers. And those tiny moments, they matter more than you know. Because in the beginning, when everything feels shattered, the smallest choices become the most powerful steps. The sacredness of simple routines. Let's start with something simple. Morning light through the window. The sound of the kettle boiling. The feeling of warm water on your face. These aren't just background noise. They're anchors. When you lose someone or something important, you lose your sense of structure, your rhythm. But small routines help you remember how to exist again. Make your bed. Wash your face with care. Sip your tea like it's medicine. Not because it fixes you, but because it reminds you. I still deserve peace. I still deserve care. Micro-healing is the new miracle. Forget grand gestures. Let's talk about micro-healing. It's in taking a walk around the block, replying to one friend's message, letting yourself laugh for a split second, then not feeling bad about it. Micro-healing isn't flashy, but it's real. And over time, those moments stack up. They become momentum. They become your way back home to yourself. So if today all you did was survive, that's healing. If today you chose kindness over bitterness, that's healing. If today you didn't give up, you're already rising. Rebuilding self-worth from the ground up. Loss doesn't just steal your joy. It steals your sense of identity, your value, your place in the world. You start to think, if I couldn't save them, what good am I? If my dream died, what am I even doing here? But here's what's true, even if you don't feel it yet. You are worthy because you exist. Not because you're strong. Not because you're perfect. Not because you have it all together. But because you are human. And healing. And trying. And that effort, it counts. So rebuild your self-worth like a sacred ritual. Speak kind words to yourself. Say no when you need to. Show up for yourself the way you would for someone you love. Because you are someone worth loving. When you can't see progress, trust the process. There will be days when you feel like nothing's changing. Like you're stuck in a loop of tears, silence, and going through the motions. But healing is sneaky. It works in the background. It grows quietly, like roots under soil, long before you see the bloom. Trust that. The fact that you care about healing means you're already healing. The fact that you're still showing up means you're moving forward. The fact that you're here, listening, proves you haven't given up. You are not behind. You are becoming. Progress doesn't always feel like fireworks. Sometimes it feels like waking up with just a little more strength than yesterday. Breathing through the waves. Grief isn't linear. It comes in waves, sometimes when you least expect it. But you don't have to drown. You can learn to breathe through the storm. Try this. Place your hand over your heart. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Say to yourself, this feeling is heavy, but it's not forever. You are not weak for crying. You are not broken for aching. You are processing. And every breath is proof. You're still here. You're still trying. You're still possible. So if you're waking up and wondering how to move forward, start here. Start with the breath. Start with the tea. Start with the choice to show up for yourself today, even just a little. These tiny moments, they don't just fill your day. They shape your future. Because healing doesn't demand perfection. It only asks that you stay open. Open to the next breath. Open to the next step. Open to the idea that life can still hold beauty for you. Even now. Especially now. You had a picture in your mind of what life would look like, of who you'd become, of who would be beside you, cheering you on. And now, that picture's been torn, shredded by grief, scattered by something you couldn't control. What do you do when the life you imagined is no longer possible? You love what's left. You stop chasing the what could have been, and begin falling in love with what still is. The fantasy future versus your real life. You see it all the time. The couple still holding hands at 70. The house you thought you'd grow old in. The child you never got to meet. The career that slipped through your fingers. And it hurts. You find yourself mourning a life that never even happened. But here's the truth no one says out loud. Grief isn't just about the past. It's about the future that won't be. And that grief is real. But it doesn't have to define you. You're allowed to lay the fantasy future down with love. To say, thank you for the dream, but I choose to live in what's real. And what's real is still worthy of love. Joy looks different now, but it's still joy. Before the loss, joy might have looked like big parties, big plans, big noise. Now, it looks quieter, softer, wiser. It's the sunrise through your window, the smell of coffee, the friend who texts you just to say, "You crossed my mind." It's not the kind of joy that shouts. It's the kind that whispers, "I'm still here. I never left." And this kind of joy, the quiet kind, it sticks. It lasts. It heals. So let your joy look different. Let it evolve. The life you didn't choose can still be beautiful. You didn't ask for this version of your life. You didn't ask to start over, to hurt this deeply, to let go of so much, so fast. But here you are, still waking up, still walking forward, still breathing. And here's the wildest part. This life, the one you never planned, might still be the most honest one you've ever lived. Because you're no longer performing. You're no longer chasing what doesn't matter. You've been stripped down to what's real. And what's real? Kindness, courage, truth, connection, peace. That's the life you're creating now. And it's more than enough. Making room for new dreams. It might feel wrong to dream again. Like if you build something new, you're betraying what you lost. But let's reframe that. Dreaming again isn't betrayal, it's bravery. You get to write a new chapter. Chase a different vision. Build a world that feels like home now. Your new dreams might be smaller, more rooted, more soulful. But they'll be yours. Not from pressure or perfection, but from presence. Let new dreams rise. You don't need permission. You are the permission. The power of redefining success. Once success meant achievements, applause, milestones met on time. But now, success means saying no without guilt. Saying yes to yourself. Feeling peaceful when you lay your head down. You are allowed to redefine success. Maybe it's staying sober, going to therapy, speaking kindly to yourself, simply not giving up. That's enough. That's real. That's success. When you love what's left, success isn't about getting ahead. It's about getting free. You didn't choose this version of life, but you're choosing what comes next. You're not stuck in the loss anymore. You're rooted in love. Not the love that left, but the love that remains. The kind that lives in your laughter, your boundaries, your breath, your becoming. You are not broken. You are beautifully. There's a version of you rising now. One who knows pain intimately and still chooses to show up. One who's learning to trust life again. Not because it's predictable, but because you're finally beginning to trust yourself. This isn't about getting over it. This is about growing into who you were always meant to be. After loss, it's easy to ask, who even am I anymore? You used to know. Your titles, your routines, your roles, they told you who you were. But now, everything's been reset. That's terrifying and freeing. Because now you're not stuck in who you were. You get to ask, what feels true now? What no longer fits? What kind of life feels like me now? You're not going back. You're going forward into truth. Rebuilding self-trust after it all falls apart. Here's something no one tells you. Grief makes you second-guess everything. You start to wonder. Did I miss the signs? Why didn't I protect myself? Can I even trust my own decisions anymore? But what if self-trust isn't about being perfect? What if it's about listening to your inner voice, even when it's scared? Here's how to rebuild it. Make small promises to yourself. Keep them. Speak to yourself gently. Notice what you need and honor it. You can trust yourself again. You've survived the unthinkable. That alone proves you're stronger than you believe. What healing actually looks like. Let's set the record straight. Healing doesn't look like I'm fine all the time. Smiling when you're crumbling inside. Pretending you're past it. Healing looks like feeling the wave and not running from it. Saying, I need help without shame. Letting your heart stay open, even after it's been broken. It's messy. It's non-linear. It's beautiful. And you're right in the middle of it. This mess. It's the soil where new life grows. Finding meaning beyond the pain. Loss doesn't come with answers. But it does invite deeper questions. Like, what actually matters to me? What am I here to give? Who do I want to become from here? This is where purpose is born. Not from fixing the past, but from creating something beautiful from what remains. Maybe you write. Maybe you serve. Maybe you rest deeply because no one taught you how. Whatever you do, let it come from love, not fear. Let it come from truth, not obligation. Let it come from you, the new you, rising. Envisioning a future you're actually excited about. Let's stop surviving. Let's dream again. Picture this. A morning where you wake up without dread. A career or calling that aligns with your soul. Relationships rooted in honesty, not performance. A version of you who glows, not because life is perfect, but because you are peaceful. You're not too late. You're not too far gone. You still get to build a future that lights you up. And every small choice you make today, it's shaping that future. The new you is not a ruin, they're a masterpiece in progress. Stop seeing yourself as damaged. You are not the leftovers of a perfect life. You are the artist, painting again after your first canvas was torn. You are the song, rewritten with more depth. You are the sunrise, softer but no less stunning. You're not what happened to you. You're what you choose to create from it. So rise with intention. Love with your whole, healing heart. Speak with the wisdom only pain can teach. This version of you. The one who doubts but keeps showing up. The one who cries but also dreams. The one who survived and now wants to thrive. That version is powerful. Because you've tasted grief. And still believe in beauty. You've been broken. And still choose to build. You've lost. But you've never, ever stopped loving. You've made it through the ache. You've walked through the fire. You've stared down silence and still chosen to stay. Now, a new kind of life is calling. Not perfect. Not polished. But real. Rooted. Alive. This is the part where you stop just surviving. And start thriving. Letting yourself feel joy again, without guilt. Joy after loss can feel like betrayal. You smile, then shrink. You laugh, then feel ashamed. You feel something good, then the guilt creeps in. But here's the sacred truth. Joy is not the enemy of grief. It's the reward for surviving it. You're not dishonoring what you lost. You're honoring the fact that you're still here. Let yourself laugh deeply. Dance badly. Love fully. Not because you're done grieving, but because you're done letting grief have all the space. What peace feels like and how to let it in. Peace isn't something that knocks down your door. It's something you invite in. And at first it might feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious. But let it come. Let peace look like saying no and not explaining yourself. Spending time alone and not feeling lonely. Feeling quiet inside without needing to fill the silence. Peace is the reward for choosing alignment over approval. You don't have to fight anymore. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to feel safe in your own skin. You're allowed to feel whole. You're allowed to love again. Love after loss is tender. It's cautious. It remembers the ache all too well. But listen closely. You are not broken. You are reborn. And love is still meant for you. Whether it's loving a new partner, loving yourself, loving the life you're building, you can love again. Not with fear, but with presence. You love now with wisdom. With eyes wide open. With a heart that knows both pain and possibility. And that love, it's the truest kind there is. Building a soul-aligned life, not just a normal one. Forget going back to normal. Normal never asked how your soul was doing. Normal never gave you time to breathe. You don't need normal. You need truth. So build a life that feels like deep breath in your chest. Saying what you mean. Doing what sets your soul on fire. Align your life with what heals you. What excites you. What feels honest. Let every part of your day reflect who you're becoming. You're not building a life that looks good. You're building a life that feels right. A new daily rhythm, soul, mind, body. Your new life starts with your new rhythm. Try this daily blueprint. Morning, soul check-in. Breathe. Speak truth to yourself. Ask, what do I need today? Midday, mental reset. Go outside. Turn off noise. Read something that inspires you. Evening, heart-closing ritual. Write down what you're proud of. Release what you can't control. Say, I'm proud of myself for making it through another day. This rhythm, it doesn't just ground you. It guides you. Saying yes to the life that wants you back. The life you're meant to live. It wants you to. It's waiting for you to. Stop apologizing. Stop minimizing your light. Start believing you're worthy of beautiful things again. Say yes to new connections, creative freedom, joy without explanation, rest without guilt, passion without a 5-year plan. You don't need to earn this life. You just need to allow it. Writing the ending only you can write. You've been handed pain. You've walked through endings you never asked for. But now, you get to write what comes next. Not the story others expect. Not the story grief tried to trap you in. But a story that belongs to you. So start fresh. With new words. With new worth. With new wonder. This is your chapter. Your healing. Your homecoming. Write it boldly. To the one who's been through loss. Who kept walking. Who kept breathing. Who never gave up. You're not broken. You're blooming. And this life, it's just getting started. Subscribe to @Mindfuel Media 101. Where healing becomes truth. Pain becomes power. And you come home to yourself again.